I'm not a churchgoer, but there is a certain spiritual aspect to coming down here. You'll feel you're paying your dues to nature. My name's Nancy Turner. I've been a member of the Heston Action Group probably for about 4 years. As far as I can remember, I started off with the litter picking side, which is really how Heston Action Group started anyway, as a group of concerned residents who wanted to tidy the place up a bit. So I joined Ma and Michael and some of the others on a litter pick, and then gradually came to realise that this space was being created. I think I've only been involved in this one for about 3 years now. Just as a volunteer, come down on a Sunday morning. There's a lot to do here. It's a very big space and we have a limited number of hands that can work the space. We could always do with more. But we've managed to achieve quite a lot in the time. I keep coming down here thinking, oh, there's that little area I want to spend some time on, and then that little area needs some attention. But then what happens is we get a big project that needs all hands on deck. So we're all doing that, and the other stuff has to wait a little while. But it'll get done. Doing something to do with the sustainable drainage scheme, that was again through Ma and the HAG thing. I wouldn't have known about it otherwise. I went along one day and helped do some of the planting, and I've been back to see how they're looking, and looking very good. The plants have thrived, so that's good to hear. The thing I've got going as a very small London National Park City Ranger project is something that we've dubbed pocket gardens. These were actually areas of pavement that had been de-paved, the tarmac and the paving stones taken up by Hounslow Highways about a year ago. But as with so many volunteer projects, it needs somebody to then say, okay, we're going to take that on and do it. And it just came together quite nicely in the last couple of months, as much as anything to do with me getting involved with the London National Park City Show Garden at RHS Hampton in July. So as a result of being involved in that, I was lucky enough to be donated some of the plants that had been in that show garden for use here and in these pocket gardens. So there's me now with a set of plants that I can plant in these areas that otherwise I would have not quite known where to get the plants from. I've been awarded a small grant from London National Park City to make them as nice as they can be, with edging and signage and things that will explain to people why we're actually doing these things. But there must be other areas within Heston and surrounds which are unloved and unused at the moment. So it could just be that we'll home in on a couple of those sites and say, well, why don't we do something similar with this area? The preference around here, sadly, is for people to pave their entire garden rather than be willing to leave a little bit, left over for nature. It's a campaign that we've been wanting to put out there. Again, I think it needs somebody with the energy and the mindset and the contacts to get a proper campaign going, get council support, get publicity and leaflets and all that sort of thing, get a bit of a buzz going around it. It's just a matter of finding that person and energising them to do it. But yeah, so the de-paving and greening the grey is very much a thing we'd love to see happen. In the road where I've made the little pocket garden opposite Heston School, further down the road they've been repaving, changing the pavement, putting slabs down, but instead of, as we wish they would have done, leaving the verge green or at least with tree pits or something, they've just tarmacked the whole thing. So we think that's a huge missed opportunity to green a bit of the grey. Certainly over the last 4 years that I've been involved in this, I have learnt plenty. All of us have a little snippet of knowledge that we share with each other. I don't think any of us really would claim to be horticulturalists. Ma's the one, I think, who's had the most training in all these aspects of all of us. But you always pick up little snippets. People say, oh, I've done it this way at home. We were lucky enough to have some workshops, I think it was last year, from Sally Tilson, who at the time was working for Cultivate London in the Salopian Garden down in Isleworth. She came and did workshops every other week to tell us exactly what we should be planting at each time of the year, the structures that we needed to make to support things, how to prepare the ground, how to deal with it afterwards. That was really useful, and I wish I'd made better notes because she's such a fount of knowledge and wisdom. In terms of hopes for the future, I think the developments we've been able to make in the last year with the new gazebo and the compost toilet have meant that this space is now able to be used for longer periods of time. up to then, we could only really have workshops in for a couple of hours because we didn't have facilities for people to stay longer, but now we do. So I know the ambition is to invite a lot more outside organisations to use the space. We've had a film night recently with another organisation that came and put an outdoor cinema. So more of that kind of thing. We've got the gazebo that could be used by people for meeting space. We want to get the school visits back in. We've had, I think it was 60 children came through from Heston School and did bug hunts and planted things and generally, enjoyed the space and learned their own things. We are now part of the Heston and Cranford Development Network, which is a council initiative, but there's a very dynamic young man called Matthew Curtis who drives that, and he's brought us all together, like organisations like Brinda's group and us and various other charitable groups and other socially active organisations in the Heston and Cranford area. There's a lot going on. So he's brought us all together, and now we can share the things that we're doing with each other. So I think the future's good from that point of view. I think there's a lot more connections being made, people supporting each other and knowing what's going on. So yeah, good stuff.